Credit cards can charge anywhere from 20, 25, or 30% if you manage to not pay your credit card on time. This means, say you even have just $10,000 worth of credit card debt in a single year, this could mean that you pay anywhere up to $3,000 or more in just interest. Even right now, according to statistics, it looks like credit card debt isn't getting any better, and a lot of Americans are struggling with this issue. So in this video, I'm going to be giving you the solution to that problem, and that's by getting a no interest credit card. By transferring existing credit card debt to a 0% interest card, you can avoid paying high interest rates on those balances. This also means that you can pay off that debt way faster. All right, so ladies and gents, in this video, I'm going to be sharing with you out of those, the 6 best 0% interest credit cards for 2023. Whether you're carrying a balance and going through tough times, or you're just looking for another card to add to your wallet, I believe that there are some special cards here on this list, starting with number 1, which is the Amex Blue Cash Preferred. Now, this card here offers some incredible perks, but most importantly, it has a 12-month 0% intro APR offer on purchases and balance transfers. After that 12-month period, you'd be paying anywhere from 19 to even 30% interest. So in that meantime, it does give you a buffer to get back on your feet and to pay off your credit card, so you may not ever have to pay interest again. Now, if you are dealing with credit card debt, this is the exact steps that you would want to take. Sign up for a card like this, activate the 0% intro APR offer, which is automatically activated once you get approved for this card. And then what you want to do is transfer your balance from one card that has all your credit card debt onto this new card with the offer. Keep in mind though, there is one important rule, and that's you normally can't initiate a balance transfer from the same issuer. So as an example, if I had an American Express credit card, I wouldn't be able to move that to the American Express Blue Cash Preferred card. Instead, if I had some credit card debt on my Amazon Visa Prime card, because this issuer is with Chase and not Amex, I would then be able to transfer it over for a successful balance transfer offer. Now, on top of the no interest offer that this card gives you, you can also get 6% cash back on US supermarkets on up to $6,000 a year. You get 6% cash back on streaming services. You also get 3% cash back on transit. This includes ride shares, taxis, buses. You also get 3% cash back on gas at US gas stations, and then 1% back on everything else. With this card, you'll also get an $84 Disney bundle, which includes Disney Plus, Hulu, and ESPN Plus in a form of a credit that comes in at $7 every single month. Add this in with the $120 Equinox Plus statement credit that you get every single year, and you would find out that this card here is not too bad. What I also love about this card is that it also gives you a welcome bonus offer. Now, this welcome bonus offer isn't as strong as some of the other credit cards, but it's still pretty decent indeed. With this, you'll get a $250 statement credit as a welcome offer after spending $3,000 in purchases in the first 6 months. Just a reminder that your balance transfer isn't going to count towards that welcome bonus offer, so you're going to have to spend normally how you would on a credit card in order to qualify. Now, all those benefits come to you at a $95 annual fee, but keep in mind, in the first year that you hold this card, that fee is completely waived. So if you're trying to reap a lot of the benefits, one suggestion is to sign up for this card, and then you can hold it for 1 year. If you get approved, then do the whole balance transfer thing, because anyways, the APR promotional offer is going to end within 12 months. And then before that year starts, you can go ahead and either cancel or downgrade this card. I know I talk about often on this YouTube channel how canceling credit cards are terrible to do, but there are certain exceptions where such if you're holding a credit card for less than a year, oftentimes you're not going to be seeing a huge detrimental negative impact on your credit score. Another reason why I decided to make this card on the top of my list is because American Express tends to be friendlier to new applicants, and they usually offer some pretty generous credit limits. Another cool little tip that you can do with American Express is the fact that if you're not happy with the initial credit limit that they give you, you can go within the American Express app and request a manual credit limit increase. And historically, they've been known to approve limits on up to 3x what your initial default credit limit would be. So I literally did this with one of my girlfriend's recent credit cards. Like, guys, I literally practice what we preach out here. She had a credit limit of like $5,000. We initiated a credit limit increase of $15,000, and it triggered automatically. Now, to get approved for this card, I recommend that you have a credit score of at least 670, but we have seen people with a score lower than this that have gotten approved. Now, stay tuned, because if you also can't get approved for this card and you tried, there are many other ways to get approved, like calling the reconsideration consideration line. I just recently made a video on that, so be sure to watch that as well at the end of this video. Or you can also apply for a product that may not have a higher threshold in accepting newer applicants, because this is what I would consider to be a stage above those beginner tier cards, just because it does have a $95 annual fee after that first year. So there are some additional great options that I'm going to mention here, following with card number 2, which would be the Chase Freedom Flex. So instead of the 12-month offer that you have with the last card on getting 0% APR on purchases and balance transfers, with the Freedom Flex, you can currently get 15 months instead. For anyone who doesn't know, the Chase Freedom Flex is also one of Chase's best beginner level cards, meaning no matter the score that you have, they generally approve newer applicants, because this is a product that they use to catch people to come into their system, to give them the ecosystem of different products that they offer. Aside from that, this card is one that holds a lot of benefits and is still one of my favorite keeper cards, and one that I've actually carried for probably the longest time within my setup. First, you can get 5% back in rotating categories, which change every quarter. Now that we're coming up to the third quarter of the year, these categories are gonna include things like gas stations, EV charging, and select live events. If you do happen to get this card, just a reminder, you have to manually activate the 5% rotating categories every time the quarter changes in order to qualify for the cash back. Now, this card also does give you some additional benefits on top of that, which includes 5% back on travel booked through the Chase Ultimate Rewards portal. You get 3% on dining, takeout, and food delivery, which I think is really good. And you also get 3% on drugstore purchases, and then 1% back on everything else. Right now, these perks are pretty similar to the last card we mentioned, but in the last quarter, that rotating category is gonna give you 5% on Amazon and Lowe's purchases. So always just be aware of some of the category offerings that this card is gonna give you, because 5% is still considered to be pretty high within the cashback earning space of credit cards. The welcome bonus on this card is also pretty solid. You get $200 after spending $500 in the first 3 months. So that means you're essentially getting 40% off the first $500 that you spend. This card also has no annual fee and is one piece in completing the Chase trifecta, where you can maximize your benefits and rewards across 2 other cards to maximize the cash earning ability. So if you're watching this video, chances are you're probably just focused on getting that credit card balance down and you're trying to fight off the debt. But regardless, this is still going to be a great starting point if you ever decide to move over into maximizing your credit cards and then enjoying that luxury travel. By the way, guys, don't have any shame in carrying credit card debt. I know a lot of people who have it, and my family also struggled with having credit card debt for a very long time. And if we were able to pull out through it, then I know that you guys can too. Now, to get approved for the Chase Freedom Flex card, be sure to have a score of at least 675. But like I mentioned with this card, and like I'll mention with all the other cards, even if you have a score underneath that, there are chances that you can still get approved, but it's a general recommendation that you want to have a score of at least that in order to get automatically approved. Also, by the way, guys, if you want to check out this card or any of the other ones I'm going to mention, be sure to check out the link down below in the description or scan the QR code on your screen. These are affiliate links, so this channel earns a small commission for every card that gets approved, but it also costs you nothing at all, and it doesn't change the ranking of the cards that we have on this list. Moving forward to card number 3, we have the American Express Blue Cash Everyday card, and if this sounds similar in any way, it's because it is. Just like the first card we mentioned, this is going to be the nerfed version where, you know, benefits aren't that great, but you also don't have to ever worry about having an annual fee. Now, instead of having a 12-month 0% intro APR on purchases and balance transfers, like we mentioned on the preferred version, this card here instead has an extended offer like the Freedom Flex for 15 months. So this card gives you 3% back on US supermarkets on up to $6,000 annually, and you also get 3% back on up to $6,000 on US online retail purchases, and then you get 3% back on up to $6,000 on gas at US gas stations, and then 1% back on everything else. Now, you might also be wondering, Brian, why did you even bother including this on the list? Well, I believe those 3 extra months can be a significant difference for someone who's looking to, you know, fit the criteria of one of these no interest credit cards. And again, American Express has been known to approve a lot of new applicants with really solid credit limits. So I figured if you don't want to pay any annual fee and you plan on holding these cards for a long time, this is still going to be a fantastic option for you. Similar to the Amex Blue Cash Preferred card, you also get an $84 Disney credit, and then you also get a $15 credit with Home Chef, totaling up to $180 back that you get annually at the end of the year. For your welcome bonus offer, you get a $200 statement credit back after you spend $2,000 in purchases within the first 6 months. To get a card like this, I would recommend you have a score of at least 670. 70. Moving on in this list, we covered one Chase card, we covered a couple American Express cards, but I believe we're gonna need a new issuer just in case you wanna have some options. And this one is gonna be the Capital One Quicksilver card. So what I like about this card is that it's just a nice, straightforward, easy to use cashback card with a 0% intro APR offer. That offer is gonna be 15 months on purchases and balance transfers for the 0% APR. And this card is also gonna give you a nice 1.5% cashback rate on all purchases that you make. On top of that, you can also earn 5% cashback on hotels and rental cars booked through the Capital One Travel Portal. And the Capital One Travel Portal, by the way, offers a nice price match guarantee and price drop protection, so you can make sure that you're getting at least some of the best competitive prices you can on whatever trip you decide to book. An additional little benefit that people often overlook is the fact that you also get 6 months of complimentary Uber One membership at the time of filming this video. I like that. I have been using Uber a lot. If you're someone who uses Uber and you don't have any other credit card that gives you a benefit in that category, I think this is just a great addition to keep. The welcome bonus on this card is also pretty competitive. You get $200 cash back after you spend $1,000 in the first 3 months. Now, with this card here, I believe that you can still get approved even if you don't have the best credit score, because Capital One has historically been known to focus a bit more on those subprime consumers, meaning people who just don't have the best credit scores. It looks like they have been trying to change up their business model, so who knows? I know that with the Capital One Venture X, which is another great card, they are trying to compete more in lines of the prime consumers, so people who have 700 to even 800 credit scores. But regardless, I believe that Capital One is going to be a generous lender in trying to accept even more applicants. But keep in mind, one area that they are not known to be the most generous in is their credit limit increases. So they give you like, a $2,000 credit limit and you want to increase it, chances are they're not going to pull it up. To get approved for this card, I highly recommend that you have a score of at least 650. But, if you have a score of at least, 600, 620, I still think there's a possibility for you to get approved for a card like this. For the next card here that I have on my list is going to be the Chase Freedom Unlimited card. As I mentioned earlier, this here is going to be another piece to the Chase trifecta. Now, I think you can probably predict what I'm going to say about this card. Benefits are very similar, okay? 15 months, 0% intro APR on purchases and on balance transfers. And the benefits of this are pretty comparable to the Chase Freedom Flex, except you're not going to be getting that 5% on rotating categories. You're just going to be getting 1.5% on unlimited purchases, but you still have access to get 5% cash back on travel booked through the Chase Ultimate Rewards portal. You get 3% back on dining at restaurants, takeout, and food delivery, 3% back on drugstore purchases, and then, like I said, 1.5% back on everything else. With this card, you can also get a statement credit of $200 after you spend $500 in the first 3 months. And also, this card has no annual fee, and if you do want to get approved for this card, I recommend that you have a score of at least 670. Now, the last card here on this list is perfect if you're really uncertain about your future. Maybe you just got laid off from your job and you want to be stable as possible, or maybe you just need the longest 0% APR period of any card out on the market. Well, this card here is going to be the Wells Fargo Reflect card, and it's going to give you 21 months of 0% intro APR on purchases and balance transfers. The only other important note with this card is that you need to make the balance transfers within the first 120 days of having this card, or it won't qualify for that 0% rate. Now, that's the general rule of thumb with most credit cards, but I think it's still important to know. Outside of that, this card doesn't really have too many benefits, but it also doesn't have an annual fee that you need to pay either. For benefits, you can get up to $6,000 of cell phone protection by paying your monthly phone bill with this card, and you get 24/7 roadside assistance. Now, if you do end up getting this card, don't expect to get any real bonus. Like, that is what they're advertising. Cell phone protection, you get roadside dispatch, you get zero liability protection, which generally comes with all credit cards, and then you get access to My Wells Fargo Deals. This is where you get access to personalized deals from a variety of merchants, but I wouldn't think you're going to get anything life-changing from that. Keep in mind, Wells Fargo has also been known to not be the best bank in the world. If you do a little bit of Googling, you'll be able to know what I'm talking about. But I think in the instance of just getting a credit card in order for you to get through a financial hardship in your life, this one is not a bad option either. So ladies and gents, this here is going to be my list of the top 6 0% interest APR credit cards for this year. And my biggest tip is that while you do have these cards, you take advantage of the cashback and welcome bonus offers, but you make sure you pay off your balance as fast as possible. You don't want to be waiting until the end of that 0% promotional offer to realize you got to start this process all over again. I really understand how crippling credit card debt can be. I think this is one of the first steps in order to reduce the amount of debt that you have. But if you do have credit card debt, debt, please within this time, pay off your balance. Now, if you're struggling a lot financially and you need a community to join, be sure to check out the link down below in the description to access the Credit Society Facebook group. We have over 30,000 members in there. And on top of that, you're gonna get access to our newsletter where I shoot you over credit card tips, deals, best offers, and reminders every month. Now, thank you all so much again for watching this video. Be sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Follow me over on Twitter and on Instagram as well, and I'll see y'all soon. Thank you. Peace. Why did I say thank you? Why did I say thank you?